Folks, welcome back to the NACE Starleague Call of Duty. We're into week number 4. We had so much action throughout the past, but it's only going to get better from now because heading into week 4, something interesting is going to be happening. The standings are going to be a lot more concrete. We're going to see a lot more solidifying the placings of each team. A lot of teams are going to be drawn to the lower side of their standings. A lot of teams to the higher part of their standings, but I mean, that's for us to find out for the rest of the day. My name's Seymour. Alongside me is Cruz. Jesse, we got plenty of games ahead of us. Why don't you run us through the schedule?
Yeah, I mean, our schedule today, it is we have a lot of action, absolutely. I mean, match number 1, we're going to be seeing the team of Bryant and Stratton College going up against Utica College. And I mean, it's looking like it could be a very interesting match, looking over a lot of the notes that we saw, kind of a rematch from last year's season as well. This is going to be that first match of the day, like we were saying. And then right after this, we've got 3 banger matchups right after as well going up. We have the UNC Wilmington going up against Keiser University, followed by our 3rd and 4th matches in Tennessee. Wesleyan. I was completely blanked there. Midway University, and then going up against Lebanon Valley College and Shawnee State University as our final match of the day. And I mean, that match, oh man, I can't wait to get to that match, Colin.
Honestly, I have heard from a little bit of a bird in my DMs that might be the best match that has been picked so far in the NACE Starleague. And I'm excited to get to it because those teams have a little bit to prove. But to head into the Bryant and Stratton versus Utica game, this is going to be interesting because, like you said, it's a rematch. It's a fight to the death to see who is going to come out on top of between these two. You got Bryant and Stratton College coming in with a new roster into this year of Call of Duty against Utica College, that they have a few new faces, but also a couple returning faces as well. And in the past, in the CCL season for Cold War, these two teams went head-to-head, and Bryant and Stratton College, they got smoked by Utica. So I'm looking at this brand new roster to just kind of revitalize themselves and be a lot more kind of refreshing in the sense. And this is a good chance for them to show what they can actually bring to this year in Call of Duty.
Well, I mean, one thing we can really say about this Bryant and Stratton College team right now, looking at them, is going into this match right now, yes, it's a kind of a rematch from last year's season, kind of not, because again, different rosters. But I mean, very similar situation to last year as well, where Utica, a team with a couple of wins, going up against a team in Bryant and Stratton College, who really has had a rough start to the season so far. And I think if you're looking at this Bryant and Stratton College team right now, and you're going into this match at an 0-3 record, 0-9 map count, you need to be playing at 150% right now if you're going to be able to take a match, like a map even, off of this Utica College team.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, Utica, like I said, they have a few returning faces, but a couple new faces to their squad. So honestly, I think they've really flipped a switch from what it looks like. On paper, it looks like that. In my eyes, it could be the case of they might not have really faced a matchup that's really pushed them to their limits. This might be the case that Utica are still that midway kind of team, that middle of the pack team that are looking to kind of push through to the top, but still not there yet. I think it's really going to be tested in the later games of the season, but this is just a great head-to-head right now between Bryant and Stratton and Utica College to just see what these teams really have to bring. We haven't seen them on stream just yet, so this is going to be interesting. Can't wait to see it. But let's run through the maps because we do have them, and again, just like last week, it's going to be Apocalypse to start us off.
We absolutely love Apocalypse start-offs to series. I say it all the time, guys, but I truly, truly believe that Apocalypse Hardpoint and Raid Hardpoint, two of the best maps to start a series off. You just constantly are getting to, you get to learn so much information from just that one map alone, how teams like to rotate, how good teams' fundamentals are, just so many different little nuances throughout the game that you can learn from just watching an Apocalypse Hardpoint. But then looking at the rest of our series, we go to a Moscow Search and Destroy, another very controlled map, Garrison Control coming up next, and then followed by a Moscow Hardpoint and a Standoff Search and Destroy if we do end up going the full distance here today. And I mean, yeah, I do kind of agree with you, Colin, as well, in thinking that Utica College is looking like a much more improved team this year, and that they haven't really been fully tested yet. I don't think you could really argue that. And their really big test is really going to be coming up in week number 8 when they go up against St. Clair Saints, who are very likely the number 1 team right now in the NACE League. And I mean, I'm really excited for that match. I hope that we do end up getting that match on stream once we get to week number 8. But St. Clair, man, they've looked so good to start this season off. They made what, one substitution from last year coming into this year, and when you're really looking at Utica, I mean, like, I think that they have a pretty good chance to compete with this team with how they've looked this year so far as well.
I think they do, especially when they reach that. You were talking about how Saints are sitting in that #1 spot. A lot of teams have been dipping in and out of that coaches pool for the standings that NACE put up. If you do follow their socials in that sense, and you can see that St. Clair this week after week 3, they got nominated for the #1 spot in the coaches poll, followed by Northwood, SEU, and then Illinois State University. But if you look at those top 4 teams, Jesse, each one of those could be a #1 team in my eyes. I mean, there's a lot of 3-0s right now, and that we're into this week #4. I'm talking about a lot of teams getting into that kind of cemented situation for these standings, solidifying their positions really in this. You're going to be seeing a lot of these teams go head-to-head against each other now that are at the top of the list, and that should differentiate the top from the bottom for this top 10. So I'm excited when especially for today, I think it's SEU and Illinois State University should be going up against each other. If not, may have been rescheduled, and that #3, #4 team versing each other should shake things up in the standings for sure against the two. It's going to be a banger whenever it comes out of that, and I can't wait to see how the coaches poll gets shaken up into the next week for this.
Yeah, I'm really excited to kind of see the coaches poll as well with you. Like, once a lot of the top teams really do end up starting to play each other, I think that's when this coaches poll could really start to kind of get flipped on its head right now, because we really don't know. It's a lot of teams right now that are just 3-0 kind of sitting there. So if you're really looking at this coaches poll right now, like, yeah, St. Clair's look fantastic. Yes, they are considered the #1 team right now in NACE Starleague, just looking at everything right now. But when you really take a look over this whole list, there's 8 teams at 3-0 and 6 divisions. Anybody could really be top.
8 divisions, anybody can be on top, but we have 2 teams right now. Bryant and Stratton College, Utica College, going head-to-head in the game 1 for today. Apocalypse Hardpoint. We're going to hop right into this one and see exactly what ice is going to be broken between them. You called it out. You said the rotations are going to be key for this map. Well, they always are. And in Apocalypse, I do agree. I think this is one of the best maps that you can really tell the fundamentals of each squad. So let's see exactly if Bryant and Stratton College can hang with one of the best.
And I mean, that is the perfect break off there for the likes of Utica. 4 going to go down. They hold on to good side spawns, and they have completely pinned Bryant and Stratton towards that back right-hand side of the map from where Utica is currently playing right now. And if you're Bryant and Stratton, you absolutely need a good break off here to like really get back into this. They are able to find a few kills through the middle of the map. You can see player #5 already putting a ton of pressure towards that top right-hand side of the map. That's where our next spawn point is going to be and where our next rotation battle will be going towards.
Frenzy, Divin. Inside the point right now, locking down these positions. For 21 seconds, you are looking for a break still, but yet to get into this. And I'm not liking the situation that Bryant and Stratton are putting themselves in with having friendly gain in the backline, wasting so much time back there, not trying to gain positioning to the top end of the minimap. They're not even putting any effort really into full forcing out Utica from those P2 positions. This is just Divin sitting on this point 6-0, playing for streaks, and it's a field day for Utica at the moment.
It's a lot of little individual challenges right now too from the likes of Bryant and Stratton College. I think like if you're really looking at this, you need to kind of just pin up and play together right now, because look how far ahead player #7 is right now. He will win one gunfight, but the trade should be there. Absolutely comes on through, and he's just completely by himself. He should be waiting for his teammates to come out spawn so they can get a good chance to really try to break on into this hill. And look how confident Utica are with how far forward a bunch of them are pushed up right now. And if they do end up falling here, they might even be able to force a spawn behind them, but not going to be the case. They're feeling very confident. The gunnies are on point right now if you're Utica College, and I mean, you can't even complain about this lead that they've started this game off with.
Oh, Divin for 8. He's got the cruise whistle now, and they are forcing out the spawns. Look at the confidence in Frenzy. You got Divin now inside there. Doesn't catch friendly gain in the cross, so it is going to give up the kill to friendly, but soon to be cleaned up. Divin on 9 in a row. A collected 6 deaths across the squad for Utica after 2 hard points, and going into stilts, they have yet to even give up a point.
And I mean, the rotations are on point. And I know we were kind of talking about it going into this as well, between like them and a team like St. Clair, and looking at how their matches might end up lining up later on into the league. And I mean, if you're looking at this right now as St. Clair, you need to be a little bit worried with how this team's fundamentals are looking on this map. They look fantastic. Every spawn flip that they absolutely have needed at any point has come on in. They're breaking hills and just they're holding on to everything exactly the way you want to. Gunfights are going in their favor so often. The trades are always there. This team looks fantastic right now.
Jalen, again, locking down the backside. As Utica still looking for that perfect game right now. Another 2 off this. Jalen make the cross now into this hill number 4. Cleans up for his teammate. And again, a great rotation from Utica College.
Oh, no.
As this is getting out of hand. I mean, they are looking amazing right now. I wanted to see improvement after that last season and show that they did earn this 3-0. And putting Bryant and Stratton into a blender like this just looks like a team reborn.
Well, I think we talk about it all the time, too, on Apocalypse Hardpoint, where if you get off to a bad start, you can normally start to bring it back a little bit later in the game once we get towards these hills 3, 4, and 5. But, I mean, the fact that they got flipped out into hill 3, I mean, this could very possibly be with how this match is playing out right now, unless they're able to break on into this hill right now. But look at this. They had a 3-on-1 on the hill, and they didn't even push forward at that point. They were just looking like it doesn't look like their confidence is there right now to take a lot of these gunfights against these Utica players. I mean, and I don't completely blame them. Utica is smoking them off the map. But it's one of those situations where you just need to play confident at all times. You can't just kind of be hoping and wishing that you're going to be winning these gunfights when you're not even taking them. Because at this situation right now, we might not even see a second set of rotations.
Oh, we might not. This is absolutely insane. Jalen is holding down the cross through mid, not falling. As Flamingo dropping into the trench, he's gonna fall. Same with his teammate. And in the collector, you need 20 points left. Are they going to get the flawless game? Are they going to get the perfect game here? It's looking like that. Finally, the break. Maybe it's going to be there. But in retaliation, you get 2 the other way. Work on the last 9 seconds. Flamingo gets worked inside those trenches. And with the spawn outs from Bryant and Stratton College, a perfect game from Utica as they put Bryant and Stratton into the blender, into this game number 1. For the NACE Starleague week number 4, and there's not much to kind of take away if you're Utica, I'd say, in this point. But Bryant and Stratton, they need to work on some of their hard points, definitely in their rotations, in the slaying, just in their team play. I mean, you highlight at the start, and they just never fix it. It's a lot of sloppy individual gunfights.
We just saw a 250-0 in hardpoint.
Yes, we did.
What just happened?
You kind of just take it in.
We talked about bullying last week on this broadcast. There should be no bullying inside of school, but let me tell you right now, inside of Call of Duty, there's no mercy from this Utica College team right now. I mean, I have no analytics to put onto this game at the moment, Colin. That was just an absolute lights-out performance from the likes of Utica College. They came out, they performed exactly how they needed to on the good side of Apocalypse Hardpoint. That is the first time I have ever seen a hardpoint not go into the second set of rotations, and they put on an absolute clinic there.
I think this is the first time in Cold War I've ever seen a hardpoint in general not go into the second set of rotations. That's just a rare treat. And you're looking at the replays, it's just a Utica College highlight reel after that one. I mean, Bryant and Stratton, I wanted to see them bring this back and get a little bit of revenge, kind of spark something to bring them back into the season, but that was the complete opposite of what I was hoping to see from them. In that 250-0 on Apocalypse, I felt like we just started the series, but we're already going into the second map into this, Jesse. You said there's not a lot to kind of take out of that map 1, so why don't we talk about this map number 2?
Yeah, I completely agree. Let's completely transition this forward into map number 2. So Moscow Search and Destroy. What do Brian and Stratton need to do to be successful on this map? That's probably a question that you'd be asking me. I shouldn't be kind of just throwing the question up in the air. But I mean, really kind of looking at this Brian and Stratton team. First things first, let's play together a little bit more. That game was a lot of individual gunfights. I hinted at it after the second hill, but it was just a lot of them just taking these individual gunfights 1-on-1. Clearly, you guys aren't going to beat Utica College in one-on-one gunfights right now. It's just not going to be a case. Their trades are too on point. You need to really bunker up and kind of play together. You need to be hitting sites right now onto Moscow and really just trying to, as a team, bring this one back for yourselves. Yes, you might be getting smoked on that map number 1. Doesn't mean you can't come back in map number 2. And it also doesn't mean that you can't learn from these losses and really bring yourself back going into the later stages of this collegiate year and in towards Vanguard into next year as well.
I was talking about how this is a rematch from the earlier years or the earlier season of Cold War. Well, I mean, it's hard to call it a rematch. It's a totally different game than when they played before. It's starting that the last
Different
time that
rosters
these two,
too.
different rosters, but you have to understand, Jesse, the last time these two played against each other, it was when Crossroads was a hardpoint map in the pool, and it was when Garrison was a search and destroy map in it as well, because that was the two maps that they did play. But heading into this game number 2, definitely I do want to see Bryant and Stratton start to play together a lot more. I agree. You're not going to find this. So into Moscow, you need to play as that team. You need to show us that we have a little bit to work with when you're Bryant and Stratton. And now you get the chance to show us in a lot slower paced, a lot more of a condensed area for this map. And they're going to play a default 2-on-2. Frenzy with the bomb to lead the way right there. Flooding on out. Caught with a nade in the hand. It's Flamingo to fall. And Frenzy finds the second to double down into the point.
That's just a tough timing. I mean, if he's got gun up there, he can easily at least get one in that situation before falling. Instead, he's not going to be able to find anything but Fatboy Morgan through the middle. He'll be able to at least get one, but it's a 1 versus 4 situation at this point, and he's just going to end up dropping Utica with a very clean round number 1. Not a flawless, but a very clean round in itself. And I mean, Colin, kind of just going back to what you were saying before, can we just like take a little bit of appreciation for the fact that we don't have to deal with watching Crossroads Hardpoint and Garrison Search and Destroy anymore? Thank God, because oh man, the throwback maps that we got going into this game, they really spiced up the map pool in Cold War.
I still have nightmares from when Crossroads switched the hills switched Hill 4 down to Frozen.
Oh my God, yeah,
and that was chaotic. Well, Crossroads was already chaotic, but when they switched that was something else. But
it was like having 2 Hill 1s at that point.
It really, really was. But we got to look at this right now because Bryant and Stratton now on the attack, so they're gonna hop on as a 4-player attack to A. Divin and Frenzy, they shut them down. Jalen bites in for a few, and a perfect, flawless round for Utica as Bryant and Stratton, they just kind of lined up and dropped.
Well, they 4-hit a site. They did exactly what I asked them to do, but what they weren't expecting was Jalen from the side to be able to find 2 there, almost 3. I think he got shots in on the first one as well. Just, I mean, just really unfortunate for themselves there. It's just Utica just seems like they're just like a more well-rounded team right now. They seem like they have a lot more practice, if you will, as well. And like I kind of hinted at in that first match, the fundamentals are just really there for them at the moment. We're going to see a 3-man hit once again from the likes of Utica College, very similar to that round number 1 hit, and almost the exact same defense from Bryant and Stratton again.
Narwhal making the play through checkers. Can he sneak through? Player number 5 on your minimap. No, Polish Prince is going to be launching that cross. Apologies, we get a little bit of a hiccup right now in the broadcast. Things are going to be a little bit of a tough one right now, so we're going to hop back to ourselves and talk a little bit about this game that we did have in that map number 2. Bryant and Stratton College, first and foremost, yes, you said that yourself. They made it from X to Y as 4 players to get to that site as a whole. You move over to A, but as soon as they get from X to Y, they don't know where Z is. They don't know how to make it to the next point of contact. And I don't think Utica College are really doing anything wild. I think they're just doing things, simple fundamentals that we see normally in Cold War towards the end of the year. And Bryant and Stratton College just seem like they don't know where to go or where to look when they get to those positions.
I mean, even in the looking back at that last round there before we got dropped from the lobby, I mean, when you're looking at Bryant and Stratton there, they're set up on defense, the exact same defense as they did in round number 1, which did not work out for them, clearly. I think they need to maybe set do like a 3-1 strat like we see a lot of teams do in this map as well, where you just have one island player playing over at B. If you spot the rotation, then you rotate over. But, I mean, the point I'm trying to get at is on that outside alley or on the outside little catwalk that we saw one of the players on Bryant and Stratton holding down with an AR. He's holding it down. He's watching the right angle. He just loses the gunfight, and when as soon as he loses that gunfight, his player on bomb is completely susceptible to being shot from every single angle, and instantly they're in a 2 versus 4. So it's just a really tough situation that they're putting themselves in. Winning unfortunate gunfights right now, if they have a third player on that site, could help them out a little bit, and I think that might be something that they need to look at going in towards a little bit more of the rounds, just to kind of just throw something different at Utica, because if you keep throwing at the same 2-2 strat, it just seems like Utica's going to kind of just pick it apart.
Well, as we wait to get into this Moscow map again and resume with our viewing between these two teams, I mean, Utica College, I was very much highlighting that they were doing very simple strategies, that they're not really kind of shining over Bryant and Stratton. They're just doing the right things, and I don't think their opponents are really realizing that, and it's fluctuating with the scoreline as well. Already 5-0, looking for 2 perfect games back to back, as we're gonna get to see a little bit of the last round as Divin just driving his way into the site and taking these very confident, very ego Chow-esque 1v1s.
I mean, why not when he's 8-0? Right?
And he's walking away without a scratch.
I mean, Polish Prince is the only player on this team who's died, and it's been 3 times. I can't. Like, this team just looks fantastic right now. There's really nothing more that you can really say about it. And here's that 3-1 split that I was talking about. It's going to come in from Utica on this defense, and Polish Prince will find that opening kill. Divin's got full streaks. I mean, this game just looks like it's going to be over, and it absolutely is. Utica College, a 6-0 victory following a 2-15-0. And I mean, this is it's getting out of hand here, Colin.
Utica College are collecting the Infinity Stones right now of this game against Bryant and Stratton. They have 2 right now, perfect games. Can they get the trifecta to really just kind of throw this one home? I mean, we got a control coming up next. Bryant and Stratton College, they look lost a little bit on these maps, and I'm trying to grasp at things to kind of highlight for this team that I'm seeing that are good. And so far, the only thing is that from map 1 to 2 is that they finally started to play as a team. The only thing is constantly they get caught looking the same way. Sometimes you're just leaving a route open, or you're just not having the right timing, and you're a little bit late to the party against some of these squads, and it's really costing them some situations. The little micro plays that you see players iron out throughout the season aren't there for Bryant and Stratton, and it's where Utica College are able to take those micro plays and blow them out of proportion.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I love that you use that reference in terms of micro versus like macro plays that you need on a Call of Duty map to really become successful. Because like your big macros, especially like kind of looking back at map number 1, is getting your big hard points, kind of getting those rotations, locking everything down, knowing where you need to be at the right times. Which Brian and Stratton, they know what they need to do. It's just kind of coming down to the macro where it's, where do we need to be set up in particular? How do we need to be set up? Which gunfights should I be taking at certain times to kind of really be more successful for themselves? And that's where they're really starting to kind of struggle in their games. And so I really do love that point. It's a really tough spot for them to be in as well, because it's just clearly one of those spots where Utica is just that team right now who is clearly on a roll. They've started off very well in the NACE Starleague, and Bryant and Stratton, they kind of just, I'm not going to grasp at straws here. They just kind of don't have it right now to kind of compete with a team on the level of a 3-0 Utica College.
We were kind of expecting this when we were looking in and researching between both of these two teams. As I mean, Utica, they look on paper and they look now in game like the better team, and they look fantastic at that. But Control is going to be our third map. Like I said, Utica looking to collect the trifecta of perfect games to start off this week number 4. So why don't we hop right into this Control map and see just exactly if Utica can throw this one home. Jesse, it's going to be crazy, but Bryant and Stratton really backed into a corner now. Garrison Control.
Oh, and they have to start on offense too. This is, oh no. Let's see what they can do. Hopefully it's a, hopefully
it's a holographic site.
I mean, I was not sure. I didn't see what you saw, but let's see. Hopefully they can get a good break off here, get a little bit of time onto one of these hills for themselves. But it's already Utica able to find the opening couple of kills. Only one player left here for the likes of Bryant and Stratton. And yes, Colin, that is indeed a that is indeed a hollow site.
Let's go camping, Jesse. Into the spawns as that Jalen literally throwing shoulders inside this tool shed. Flamingo looking to wrap around, catch him from behind. Good timing on the side of Bryant and Stratton. Should find an opening now to Dark. However, they're rotating right into Polish Prince, and they are set up to deny anything from this Bryant and Stratton team. So far, 9 kills to the 1 that Bryant and Stratton found, as they're doubling the kill count that their opponents are finding. And once again, gonna pitch up. Let's head inside their spawn. 32 seconds left. And I didn't know that we got a DLC of firing range inside.
Yeah, this is I mean, there's really not much they can do in this situation though either. Like, they had a bad break off and just got pinned to their spawn, and we see this happen from top teams playing other top teams, right? So this is just one of those spots where you're just in a very rough spot, and you can see Utica, they have no mercy. They are gonna continue to just throw this into your face. I'm not too sure how Frenzy was doing at that point of the round either, because unfortunately we had that weird little codcaster glitch where the bar was going over his name there, but you got to think that he was being very successful through that round. I'm not even sure if he died until that very end of that round there for himself. But, I mean, you just never want to be put in a situation like this, and it's just really, really rough at that point.
Yes, it is rough. It is rough, to put it lightly. 30 to 30 now in the life count. We can see that we're going to set them back up onto this attack this time for Utica, and talking about the breakoffs. So the breakoffs are everything, especially on a map like Garrison. Last time Utica got a full 4 down right off the rip, looking to mirror that and keep their aggression going. There's one off the back. Jalen finds 2. As the closest one up is going to be Friendly Gain. He's able to trade off 1, looking to be a hero over at B, but Polish Prince says no. We're going to take this site, and we're going to set up on both. That's Jalen looking to bite a little bit more off Narwhal around the corner. He's going to clear him out. Now 4 in a row. Looking for 5 to slide on in around it, making it awkward for his opponent. As Jalen getting into the spawns of the enemy one more time, looking to drive away this attacking round.
Line them up and knock them down. That's how Utica is playing this game out right now for themselves. Barely even playing for the objectives at the moment, as they are just completely in the spawn in the face of this Bryant and Stratton team. And, I mean, just look at Jalen. He's on 8 in a row. Back in your spawn. Definitely not a spot where you want Jalen to be right now with how he's shooting in this series. I think this guy's died maybe 5-6 times throughout the entire series so far here today. Having an absolute whirly of a series for himself. B zone completely ticked through. A zone already 1.5 of the way. They've got 1 player on. I don't think anybody on Bryant is even going to be able to get close.
Friendly Gain able to take 1 down. The break off. Maybe to get to the site. Only 1 player here for Utica, looking to get back into this and stop the progression. But Polish Prince and Jalen, another 3 down into the kill feed. Nobody's close to contesting this site. One's going to hop off, the other one to take their place. Utica 2 in a row here on Garrison control. The trifecta, it's looking pretty strong right now.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It is a... we could very possibly see... I'm not sure if this is going to be the first, but it very likely could be the first in collegiate COD of being a absolute perfect series for a team here. I don't think I've ever seen this before.
This had to have happened one time.
I've just never seen it myself. So, I mean, I would imagine that it has happened before as well with how college COD can be sometimes.
With how many teams there are, too.
Especially with having Ottawa in a lot of the leagues as well. So, I mean, I could imagine that this has happened at least once before. We'll see if Utica can once again do it here. Looking for the perfect series. Just unreal.
Unreal. They just look like a different beast against Bryant and Stratton off the break-off. You really need something good here. You really need to dig deep and take it to them all right. That's a 3 for 2. For Bryant and Stratton. Narwhal still on this point, looking to get a tick of progression at B. Is he going to expect a close fight? He does, but it's Divin to give him the work. And he's going to bite a little bit more off than he can chew. Looking now for Utica to get this retake fast and early to deny a tick of progression. You look at Frenzy through the tube. He's into that flank immediately. He's going to pop up, finds Narwhal, slides out for a second, tripling his kills with his teammate Polish Prince. And they get a 4 down immediately, looking to the spawns. haven't even used the streaks. Oh, they do use some streaks here. That's going to be an artillery strike, and they are just, to make matters worse. Jalen literally spawned next, or stood next to somebody who spawned.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the tough spot, right? Once you get put into that back spawn here. They were looking, honestly, a lot better off the start of that round. They were getting a good amount of time on that first hill. Yes, they didn't get the full progression and get it all the way through, but they were putting up a fight a lot better than their opening break-off in round number 1 was. It's just, it's so tough once you've given up so many streaks. Utica, as soon as they get one wipe onto the hill, it just basically made it so now they can put their full focus, push everybody forward, and just continue to look into your spawn and try to pick you guys up as you're coming off spawn. They have too many streaks to really even be able to deal with here. Only 12 seconds left as well, and seven lives, and you gotta imagine that would, I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen it, but an absolute perfect series from the likes of Utica College.
2, 1, Utica do it. They commit to the trifecta. No mercy. 250-0 Apocalypse Hardpoint. 6-0 Moscow Search and Destroy. And a 3-0 Garrison Control. Pure domination across the 3. The perfect score at that. And I was expecting to see a new and improved Utica College from the last time I saw them in CCL. And they look new and improved. After that, I mean, there's no way I can deny that after seeing what I just saw.
I mean, they beat, like, kind of like you said earlier, was they beat them in CCL, right? 3-0.
They did.
And it was a pretty dominant series for themselves. How did they take that one step further? They demolished them in a 3-0 fashion here. Perfect series. 250-0, like you said, 6-0, 3-0. You really can't ask for much more from the likes of Utica College. And I mean, you're just looking at that, and you got to feel for Bryant and Stratton. You want them to really be able to compete with some of these other teams. It's just they don't seem to have themselves on that level of these other players yet. And you know what it probably is too, is it could just very well be a team of a couple of friends who like to play Call of Duty for their college, and they just kind of join into the CCL at this point, because it is in towards the NACE Starleague and in towards other collegiate Call of Duty leagues. Whereas when you're looking at Utica, where this very well could just end up being a team where you have a program for your collegiate COD teams as well.
And I'm looking through the standings at what they have, because I'm not sold on Utica College just yet. Yeah, they looked dominant. Yeah, they looked a lot better than the last time they played Bryant and Sharon, but it's just not enough of a census to kind of go work off of this. I mean, they have some pretty good teams in the top 4 of the Northeast. I mean, you're looking at St. Clair College at the top right now. Obviously, the number 1 team in the coaches poll going into week number 4. You have University of New Haven, Army West Point Esports. You have a lot of teams ready to go toe-to-toe against into the coming weeks of NACE Starleague. So I think that this is really where we're going to see Utica College be tested a lot more, Jesse. And it's not until those tests come through that I will be sold on Utica. We were kind of throwing some hypotheticals in it at the start, but well, not at the start of the stream, but pre-show, when we were kind of working over things and trying to figure out what to expect out of this Utica team. And I mean, you look at the way that the format is set up for the year. In playoffs, to get into that, you have to play through qualifiers against your own top 3 in the standings. Right now, what's their top 3? St. Clair College, Utica, University of New Haven. If it stays like that, University of New Haven has upset potential against this Utica team 100%. And from what I saw in today's game, were simple fundamentals from Utica College that just were not matched by other fundamentals out of Bryant and Stratton. And if they bring that to the likes of St. Clair, we might not be seeing the exact same score lines.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I would not expect to see a score line like this at all once you're seeing some other of the top teams playing against each other. And I think a really important thing that you kind of bring up too is the fact that, yes, only 3 teams make it out of playoffs, but also only 1 team will make it from the division in itself in towards the playoffs in the finals. So I think once we get towards that week 8 matchup, I think that's going to be the really big one between Utica and St. Clair. And off of that, playoffs are so short right behind that. So whatever team even ends up losing that match, they could really learn from that and bring it back towards fighting each other in towards the later halves of the playoffs.
Well, Jesse, it sounds like we have Polish Prince inside the booth to bring in for an interview. Congratulations on that 3-0 victory. It was pretty fast. We got through it. How are you feeling after that? I must feel good.
It does feel good. We came in here like every other week. Practice Monday, Tuesday, and play the game Wednesday, and we just came out with a victory.
Exactly. I mean, there's nothing more. It's pretty simple from you guys. And going into this year, I mean, you have a couple new faces on your roster, a couple returning players as well. And I just want to kind of get the feel out of Utica College. How are you guys kind of molding as a team, and are you guys meshing well?
Absolutely. I really can't tell you enough about these guys. They're absolute grinders in the off season over the summer. Like Jalen and Frenzy, they came on a little later in the year, and they've been working like crazy. Just grinding over the summer. We've been playing a lot, so it's really coming together, and you can kind of see that in our gameplay.
It's great. I mean, you guys do look like an improved Utica College. So I'm definitely looking forward to what you guys can bring to the rest of the series. Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you guys looked fantastic today. I mean, I didn't see a notch in the gameplay, obviously, but I mean, I want to kind of switch things up, look a little bit forward into your schedule as well. So, obviously, I think your big test in this group is going to be going up against St. Clair once you guys finally get towards that. The other team, of course, that is undefeated in your division. What kind of what kind of like state are you guys in versus like thinking about going in towards that matchup?
We just take it one week at a time. Like I said, every other week or every week you go in there, you practice Monday, Tuesday. We're kind of in our mid-season form, if you want to call it. We've been playing this game for a long time, so we know what to do. We just gonna have to go out there and do it. Just treat them like any other team we're gonna play. So
I like
Love to
that.
hear it.
I very much like that. But Polish Prince, before we let you go to kind of, I guess, celebrate over the perfect series, 250-0. I mean, that's a one way to start this off. That was a great series. I mean, you guys were flawless throughout the whole thing. But anything you want to add, anything you want to shout out and look forward to?
absolutely, shout out anybody or everybody here, Ryan Becker, who started this whole thing. This week, Utica College esports would have not really been here without him. So them for sure. I know the UC hockey guys are out there watching that. Probably UC Lax guys out there too. So we appreciated that, and all the fans watching. So appreciate you guys. Thank you.
That's great. Well, congratulations on the night. Go enjoy it. Have some fun. Can't wait to
Thank you.
see you
Thanks for
next
having me.
time.
Sounds good.
Jesse, what a series we had in Polish Prince. I mean, he sounds like they have a good structure going at Utica College. I like that. Just take it day to day, practice Monday, Tuesday, and you just see how it goes from week to week. So far, it's been working.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the answer I wanted to hear. I did not want to hear him saying like that they were putting in their full focus towards playing that St. Clair team in a couple weeks because, like you said, a lot of these mid-pack teams that they will be going up against throughout the rest of these next few weeks leading up towards that St. Clair match in week number 8, those really could end up being the difference maker of where they end up
Could be.
finishing throughout this division. So, yeah, things you absolutely love to hear, and I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing these guys again. I really hope we get to see that match on stream week 8.
Yes, it does. Well, Utica, they upgrade to a 4-0 standing, 12-0 in their map count. Well, Bryant and Stratton, they fall farther down, 0-4 in theirs and 0-12 in their map count. So let's take a look at what we have coming up after this break for map number 2. It's looking like we got the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, up against Keiser University. This is going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to it. So University of North Carolina, Wilmington, they constantly look like they can break through into a top 10 team, and I'm sure that they feel like that as well. So I can't wait to see what they have to offer. You're watching NACE Starleague. We're going to head to a break. When we come back, more Call of Duty. And folks, welcome back to the NACE Starleague Week 4 of Call of Duty. Once again, my name is Seymour, and alongside me, the lovely Jesse, aka Cruz. And we're going into our match number 2 of the day. It's the University of North Carolina, Wilmington against Keiser University. And these two matches, or these two teams up against each other, Cruz, are going to be quite interesting because Wilmington, they've looked strong. We saw them last week against Full Sail, and they looked like a team to watch out for, beating Full Sail 3-1. Keiser, we haven't really been able to get a glimpse of this squad, so why don't you tell me a little bit about them?
I mean, obviously, University of North Carolina coming in at 3-0. They've looked very good. We saw them last week on stream as well. We saw them with a nice 3-1 victory for themselves. They've looked fantastic so far throughout the season. Top team, or one of the top 2 teams right now, sitting inside of this division. And I mean, when you're really looking in this Northeast division between them, you really got to be thinking this team really could end up being the team to beat. When you're looking at the other side of Keiser University, 1-2 right now. But I mean, they've had some very close losses. They got 3-0'd by a team that we were kind of looking at before we came into this. And last week, our big matchup that we saw on stream was the University of North Carolina going up against Full Sail Armada. And I mean, a couple weeks earlier, we saw the same thing when it came to Keiser University going up against Full Sail. Yes, they don't get the win, but all 3 of those maps were super, super tight, maybe outside of the control. But you got to think like we are in a good spot to have a pretty good series here, I think.
Yes, well, when we look at the maps for this, we're going to be starting on Checkmate for this one. Hardpoint is going to lead us through that plain corridor. However, Moscow for map number 2, Raid Control. Moscow Hardpoint if it goes to a 4th, and Raid Search and Destroy if it goes to a 5th one. A very simple map set, if you ask me. We're not really straying away from either one. So we get a double dose of Moscow, a double dose of Raid, and Checkmate for the Icebreaker. So that's really the interesting thing, because when it comes down to Checkmate, it's totally different from Apocalypse, where you're looking at rotations. In this one, you're looking at the assault rifle players to come into this. And when you are highlighting both of these teams and the players on it, we can really talk about Keiser University right now, because they actually have a substitute into this series, and it's going to be Neb substituted out for Homicide Chick. So she's going to be playing in place of Neb in this series against University of North Carolina Wilmington. And I'm curious to see how that goes, bringing in a substitute. Maybe the player's not able to play. Maybe they're still testing out new things. So that's going to be one thing we're looking at. And Checkmate is going to be the icebreaker. So let's look into this cruise.
Yeah, absolutely. You can already see UNC Wilmington starting off on that right-hand side, exactly where they want to be. And you can see Keiser's putting a lot of pressure towards the top-hand side of the map. They're going to try. Player number 4 is going to have a big job here in tag. He needs to just try to sneak his way through to try to maybe flip these spawns out. That's going to be his job number 1 here.
Yes, it is. Percy, big one from tag there. Because you're looking at Keiser to flip these spawns immediately. And if you take control of that top of the mini-map, you can get into yellow. And that is going to lead your way into the back line. Missed. Holding off for the contestation. Hits, trying to hop onto the wing to get in from the sides. Can take a few shots from Sweets, but maintaining your life is important right now for Keiser, because as soon as they get D-Tatty out of this wing, they're going to find the rest of this map. However, they force the aggression. D-Tatty for 2. 3 go down for Keiser. And now University of North Carolina, they can start getting time on this Hill 1 and set up for Hill 2.
And that's perfect from UNC Wilmington. Yes, Keiser, they had a great chance of being able to break in through the bottom side of the map. And what they were trying to do there was force out the spawn by pushing in towards the bottom, hoping that they would force a spawn from UNC Wilmington on the left-hand side of the map. Unfortunately, though, UNC Wilmington, they win all the gunfights for themselves there. Now, Keiser, as hard as it was for them to get into that hill number 1, it's going to be even harder for them to be able to get into hill number 2 here. As you can see, everybody on UNC Wilmington set up, holding an angle right now outside of player number 7, but he should be into a position very shortly as well.
Tag prone in yellow. He's going to find 2. And that's the site flipped. Hits chimes in for a 3rd. Now Percy's the only one alone in the back line. He's going to get cleaned up, but not soon enough. So it's going to give Sweets a spawn in the back line. A pinch for the University of North Carolina while they're trying to get into this. 2 already out of the count for Keiser. 3 make it 4. That's a clean sweep.
Oh, that spawn for Sweets in the back. It's so unfortunate for Keiser, just because you got to think without that spawn, there's no pinch potential there from UNC Wilmington, but it kind of just traps every single player on Keiser in towards that back yellow crate, and there's really nowhere that they can go at that situation. Fortunately, though, they get a little bit of time on that hill. Now they just need to look towards battling in towards our hill number 3, which both teams are fighting for right now. And it looks like Keiser should be the first team here in setup.
Only a 30-point lead, so not much out of the first 3 hills, but this is where North Carolina, if they flip these spawns, it can get dangerous. You still have them for the time being for Keiser, so you're going to group up for a hit into the middle of the map. Got tag on the corner, shots down range. Alpha's going to come out on top. And another 3 down for
Alpha.
Keiser, all 4 down. Look at this. You have streaks starting out for Alpha. If he gets one more, that's going to be a big artillery barrage for the later game.
Yeah, they need to absolutely find this player in Alpha right now. You can't let this guy find these streaks. Unfortunately for him, his teammates are going to clean that last player up. But he's feeling very comfortable right now. You know he's going to be looking just to take whatever gunfights he can. And hits, wins a huge one-on-one there to shut down the streaks. That's going to keep Keiser right in this game.
D-Tatty hold tight to this corner. The nade, with the help of Tag, cleans him up. But you're losing a lot of teammates out there. Still somehow Keiser, they have the spawns with the hill number 5 when it comes to that. Tag's going to get cleaned up. Sweet's in a perfect power position to watch these rotations from behind. And a spawn out from player number 4, Tags. Sweets hops up. He's finding another one. Still time to Wilmington. Homicide chick from the top ropes. He's going to get a trade onto Sweets in the backline. Being chased out there. And D-Tatty finishes her off. So